we're supposed to have a 22-inch minimum walkway. This is wider than 22 inches, but it's supposed to be unobstructed. This is the vent, the bathroom vent, which improperly goes to a soffit vent. This is the laundry vent pipe. You have a drain pipe and a vent pipe. The vent pipe equalizes the pressure. The vent pipe should always be installed in the direction of the airflow. A minimum of 2 degrees. This vent pipe is perfectly level. It will not allow the air to vent as it should. Also notice that there's a bathroom over here. They're using the same vent pipe. Well, the bathroom lavatory doesn't drain very well. I don't know. We're up here for the HVAC indoor air handler. We're going to go in the order of the report. We're going to start with the furnace. Gas pipe comes in. Gas pipe does not have a sediment trap. This is a 3-year-old system with a new fluid. You know what I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing any building permits. No building permits. No sediment trap, no building permits. There's the care and use manual. It is probably suspended, mostly. Again, electric cable's in the way. We cannot read the label for the evaporator coil. We assume it's the same vintage. We don't know what the size or anything because they covered it with mastic. Our flute's probably suspended, but you can see daylight around it. If daylight can get in, water can get in. So, the furnace has got care and use manual. We haven't operated it yet, so we're pretty good in that regard. It looks like I could put the cover on a little better, and I will. Our refrigerant piping insulation is too close to the flue exhaust. We've got a little bit of rust in our pan. How did that get here? This is our secondary drain line, and that's our primary drain line. And that's a clean out cap. In front of the trap is a clean out cap. In back of the trap is a vent. That's a clean out cap. It's supposed to have a cap on it. I'm glad that they put some insulation on that trap, but we can see that this is a shallow trap. Check with the manufacturer. This pipe goes to the sewer. You have a shallow trap. Air is running through this unit, through your evaporator coil. Fan stops. When the air goes past the coil, it's raking the heat out. When the air goes past the coil, it's raking the humidity out. The coil holds water. That's why we have rust in our pan. When the fan stops, the water drops and comes out here. You have a shallow trap. Okay, it's like a roller coaster. The last car follows the first. Whoosh! Just like a Jamie Lee Curtis yogurt commercial. Whoosh! Cleans it out. We're supposed to have self-cleaning traps. We're not supposed to have self-clearing traps. It clears it out. So what happens is you got an empty pipe running to your sewer system. So when the system's not running, the sewer gases come back up. Hang out up here. Air conditioner kicks on and it broadcasts them. Distributes them throughout the whole living space. You won't smell anything. It'll be diluted. You won't notice it. But that's what it's there for. Don't trust me. Read the manufacturer and not the furnace installation instructions, the evaporator coil instructions. Read those and see what Trane has to say about it. See what Goodman has to say about it. Goodman and Trane are the same. The American Standard and Goodman and Trane are the same. See what they have to say about it. You'll find that you're not supposed to have a shallow P-trap. I get it's faster. It comes all in one piece. It's cheaper, quicker, faster. I get all that. But it doesn't do the job what it's supposed to be doing. We do have some rust in our pan. So, and we're moving on along. Okay, the insulation's too close to the flue. To our air duct. We're not supposed to have more than half an inch sag. Not supposed to have more than half an inch sag in our air duct. And it's not supposed to be leaking next to the plenum over here. You think air can get out through there? I do. You think air can get out through there? I do. So we got it's leaking, and it's sagging, and it's kinked. See all this webbing? That webbing's supposed to be supporting our duct. Let's just take for a moment. Just for a moment to think about this. See what it's doing to the duct. It's not wide enough. Do you think it's going to stay that wide? Look how it's kinking the duct over there. Cutting into it. It's like a cheap web belt. It's like cheap underwear elastic. You know how it rolls up? Alright. Well, maybe you don't wear cheap underwear. Okay, but I've had some experiences where my cheap underwear elastic bands rolled up, and that's going to do the same thing. It's going to cut your air duct. Not supposed to have more than ½ inch sag. Not supposed to have more than ½ inch sag. So what did we learn? We learned that we do not have a clear walkway to the indoor air handler, to the furnace. We learned that we do not have a sediment trap for the furnace. We learned that we do not have a building permit at the furnace. We learned that there's an air gap around the furnace flue and the ceiling. That's what we learned. We also learned that we've got a shallow P-trap. And here's something that we learned, but I didn't tell you about yet, but we're going to learn. Here's something we're going to learn, is you see this girder that comes out to hold the furnace? See that girder that comes out to hold the indoor air handler? We have one over here on our furnace. Okay, two over here on our furnace. Real strong, real good, nice supports. But over here, if this is an evaporator coil. See, that's all drain piping. So if water leaks out of the bottom of your evaporator coil cabinet, travels down that rod, and then falls off onto the floor, falls off onto your ceiling. Falls off on your ceiling. That should have been cut back. Over here, it needs to extend. One thing is we're not making water over here, so we're kind of, immune from that requirement / consideration. Okay, so that's fine. Then, so that's our and we have a shallow P-trap. So there's a self-clearing trap, which will allow sewer gases to come back up into the system. We learned that our air duct is leaking next to the plenum. Our air duct is sagging. We learned that our air duct is kinked. So if I'm finding out another good. You look kinked to me?